The sea-striped fiends send you to uproot the tree of the gods, yes? Their blasphemy knows no bounds.
Give the order, Captain. Or just nod. I'm not picky.
So, the fiends corrupt even the sand-striped ones. Now I taste their stench on her. If you join them in befouling the Adra, then you will join them in death, too. The Tree of the Gods, yes, which these fiends plunder and profane. Go! Carry a warning of what you have seen to the other shufflers. Fool! See what the impiety of the sea-striped fiends has wrought? The sand-striped shufflers know better. But you others come, smooth-toned or furred or sea-striped, with blasphemous hunger. Now, foreign ones dig at these roots, and the deep hunter is with us no more. Now, the gods return to rain their punishment on these islands. Again. Do your stories say nothing of the many disasters? Of the shuffler nests washed away like foam? Many generations ago, the sand-striped ones built great hives across the islands, and bastions around the Adra roots. Their ancestors, yes. Their meddling displeased the gods. So the gods smashed their works with heaving volcanoes and crashing waves. You shufflers are beasts of habit. You do not learn. You do not change. You cast off your sheddings by night, only to put them back on at daybreak. You wrap yourself in filthy, worn-out things. Our ancestors hid deep where the waters quenched the fires and muffled the storms. They remembered while shufflers scattered. Now, the shufflers build again. The gods see. They will tear them all down. Lies and treachery. The gods do not wither their own roots.
The shuffler's tongue is thick with blasphemy. Kill him now, Sukar.
If your fat tongue speaks true, then give us proof. I tell you, thick tongues lie. Forked tongues do not. If what you say is true, then surely you can speak with the dead. I will believe your words, only if I hear them from the tongue of my own people.
Sugan, I found the way.
Yanis? You died! We saw!
The way became dark, but this one brought light.
We will kill the shuffler and free your soul, Yanis.
Do old scales cloud your eyes? The shuffler glows like the Godwalker, like the way. He will open the way.
The gods give you power, yes. But is it enough? Approach. Restore the blessing of the gods to the Adra.
As your hand touches the dim Adra, you feel the same cool, pricking sensation that you did when you touched the pillar near Port Mage. You concentrate on the pillar. The world around you swiftly falls away, leaving only the vast emptiness of the in-between. The Adra, and a multitude of golden threads undulating off into the distance. For a second time, You gather the threads in your mind and bind them together, forming a solid tether that ripples out toward its distant anchor. Again, a crack sounds from the terminus. Your consciousness is violently pulled along the cord. You are prepared for the sensation this time, but are still disoriented when you come to a sudden stop. You find yourself standing behind a familiar Titanic statue as it trudges through invisible waters. Standing at Aethys's shoulder, your soul is dwarfed by the massive god's form. Energy pulses along the tether, each wave feeding the Audra's movements. He stops. His head cranes behind him, again accompanied by the sound of stone shearing and buckling. His eyes rest upon you. He does not reach for the cord, but considers you for a long span of silence before speaking.
Your first attempt to contact me was brave. This second attempt, is it born out of desperation or something else? Why do you continue to follow me, Watcher of Cadnua?
Though there is no change in his stone visage, there is a long pause before he speaks.
That's a great challenge you've taken on. Why?
At first, he does not respond, but there is a wavering from the light within him. A momentary dimming that allows you to see the souls within the Audra clearly.
I never sought violence or death, but Margren and the Hand Occult have ensured that the world believes the madman Widewind tried to destroy the Deerwood and everyone in it. In truth, a war was what I desired, but not one of violence. I sought a war of conscience. If people saw that the ruins so faithfully guarded by the Glanfathans were nothing more than machines the Angwithans had used to turn themselves into gods, what could that mean?
Aethys becomes silent. You can sense his presence advancing back along the cord between you. His energy flows over your hand, tendrils of light probing into the air around you. They poke and prod at the silent lost souls hovering in your vicinity.
You are in a unique position. In spite of the work of the Leaden Key and Hand Occult, you have seen through our facade. You know the god's true nature. Without the benefit of your knowledge, few mortals would be willing to accept the true history of their gods. After all, we weren't. The last time I walked Aora, I made a mistake in not revealing my true purpose. I believe you would understand it better than most. Yes, I will tell you, but this is not the time. As I take this body farther from the lighthouse, the tether grows weaker, and I have already tarried too long. Soon this link will unravel completely. If I have not reached my destination when that happens, I will need to pull more souls from your world.
The edges of Aethys's massive form blur and dissolve. The huge figure retreats from you. As it moves, the tether begins to rapidly unravel. As Aethys speaks, his voice sounds garbled, fragmented, and distant.
If you would know more, find me at the Ashen Maw in Margren's Teeth. I must rest there before I begin my final work. When I leave that place, you will not be able to follow. Before I go, I should return some of this to you. I still have need of the great power of your soul, but I can spare you this portion.
A pulse of energy moves back along the golden cord toward you. It feels familiar, comforting, even before it contacts you. The energy washes over you, flooding you with feelings and memories you had thought long forgotten until they settle back into the cracks of your soul. And then the tether and cord snap, Aethys's figure evaporating into dust that mingles with the endless gray expanse. Heat rushes over you and the uncomfortable sensation of the Audra Pillar's presence cuts off. The gloom of the in-between is pierced by the light of the living world. You are back in the lighthouse, no longer dim. The luminous Audra beside you is filled with warmth and light.
Long have we kept peace with the sand-striped people. But then, the foreign ones came and spread, killed our people, built their hives everywhere.
Your type weren't exactly accommodating.
We were sure the Godwalker came to cast them out, that driving them away was a holy mission. You have never fought to defend something. Very fortunate. Or cowardly. We must go. I know not what this means, but our brethren should hear of it.
Not an option, Snake. Bet you were keeping count of how many good soldiers you fanged. Captain?
You show us something new today, Shuffler. Thank you for this. And for your mercy.
Captain, a word? What, did Ishi defecate in your favorite helmet or something? You've spoken to Aethys, which means you know what we're up against. If the fleet sailed up to him and fired every cannon at once, I imagine we'd have a fighting chance at taking a chip off his kneecap. There's no stopping him, is there? Get used to it. That's how things get done in this part of the world. I suppose there's a certain appeal to recognizing the inevitable. We don't have to waste our breath trying to stop it. It reminds me of the first time I shot to kill. There he stood, a pirate captain barking orders from the forecastle. Out of everyone's range but mine. The wind toyed with us. I took aim, never thinking I'd make the shot, but then I felt this awareness, like someone out there was aiming me. A cannon blast took me by surprise. I squeezed off a shot, expecting it to fly wide, but the bullet took my target between his eyes. I don't know if Bareth kicked open a door or the Sky Mother held my hand, but that man was meant to die. I've got that same feeling now. Better or worse, I know that Aethys is meant to succeed. Choice is a funny word. I never planned to live by the gun. One day I put a bullet through a Bronzoa while the Ranganui happened to be watching, and the rest was history. I can still take pride in my work, if that's what you're asking. Hope I didn't take the wind out of your sail. Whether or not we can change anything, at least we can say we were there. That's more than most people get.
Had another one of your talks there, didn't you? You gonna share details, or do we gotta guess?
When the captain goes all starry-eyed like that, the crew starts to ask questions.
I was rather hoping someone else would bring that up.
Yeah, right, fair point, that. Captain?
All the places he can go, and he chooses a spot named for Margaret. What could he be thinking?
You're looking upright, Captain. But something in your eyes tells me different.
Well, Margaret's teeth sounds like the kind of place that should rather stick out. Shall we continue on?
Look at our beacon. Even the Colossus couldn't destroy it. And those snakes aren't so tough now, are they? Of course. We'll rebuild bigger and better, with reinforced walls and extra cannons. Our engineers will make this place truly impregnable. The Hansanui will want to thank you personally for your help here. And she should also know what we're up against. She's usually at the Brass Citadel in Nekataka, though she gets called to the palace often, haggling with the Queen and the Valians. Clear skies.
Light of Aethys be upon you, neighbor. Are you looking for survivors?
A short lady, about my age, came from Deerwood with her son. Let's see, freckles, braids usually. Punches you in the arm if she likes you, face if not. Oh, and that's if you're lucky.
No, that doesn't sound like anyone.
You gotta be her son. Got her nose and her freckles. You don't have to lie to me, kid. I'm a friend of your mother's. She hiding from someone? Maybe an ex-lover who gave her the best night of her life?
No, I misspoke.
Forget it. Just tell me something. Your father, you know him?
I'm sorry, who are you? Right, Friends of Alava's. Yes, I knew my father when I was very young. He was a man of strong faith.
Have to be. You get Alava mad, you need a god on your side for protection.
He was lost to us during the Purges, which was how we came to flee here.
So you met him? Well, that's great. You had a dad. Where's your mother now? Got a lot of catching up to do.
My mother is with Aethys. She passed the Veil a few years ago. A flu. It's possible her soul has taken a new body by now, but if she was truly blessed, she marches instead beside the Shining God.
You lied to us. Said you didn't know her. Expect me to believe this now? Funny, you wouldn't know it to look at him.
I'm not lying. She's buried on the other side of that hill.
How could she be gone?
Don't be troubled by her passing. All souls that march with Aethys receive his warmth and light. Aethys has come to us twice now. Even Oblivion couldn't slow his march. We shouldn't have opposed his first coming. He meant to rally us under his banner.
Oh, I know a lot of dead Deerwoodans who will be relieved to hear that. And seeing what we've seen, it's hard to believe they got our best interests at heart.
Aethys forced everyone to declare themselves as ally or enemy, nothing more. Now he marches again, and we have a chance to correct our mistake.
Well, that's charitable.
I would like to have joined him when he passed this way, but I was weak. It won't happen again. You can't build on broken foundations. Real change needs destruction. I trust my God knows better than I do. He knows truths I'll never learn.
And got that right.
I was once lost. I struggled as you do now. But the partisans of the lighted path have restored my faith in Aethys. What greater honor than to march in his vanguard? We began as children of the Dawnstars, separated from each other as we questioned our purpose. But then Aethys granted a vision to Gadarian Bosch. Bosch saw an illuminated path lighten the way through a black abyss. And he saw Aethys marching on the path, and Aethys bade him to march alongside. And the Shining God told Gadarian Bosch to gather an army of the God's truest followers, and to prepare to lead it into battle.
You'd think after getting blown up, he'd slow down on the battling.
We don't know. The end of the path hasn't been revealed to Gadarian Bosch yet. but to the faithful, it shouldn't matter. There'll be a great journey, but we're prepared. Gadarian Bosch knows the way. Aethys himself has appeared in Deadfire in the form Gadarian Bosch foretold. That's more proof than any of his faithful could ever ask. What fortune to be given this opportunity, to know our God in the living world. Gadarian Bosch warned us. Those outside the partisans may ridicule us and test our faith, especially our old families and others close to them. We've learned it's best to keep to ourselves and those with open minds, which relations and friends mostly aren't.
We can go. Hey, kid. What was your name again?
Bairn.
Right. This lighted path fellow, Bosch. Sounds interesting. There's some way I can meet him?
He's usually on the move, rallying followers. But the partisans of the lighted path often gather in the Temple of Aethys in Neketaka. I am soon to go there myself, in fact. There's an adherent there, Ogna, who initiates new partisans. No doubt she'd be pleased to help you. Aethys needs able soldiers, even in their elder years. You should consider what Ogna has to say. It might speak to you. Farewell.
I thought Aethys was too busy kicking over islands to blunt his teeth with mortals. What say? You must take something from all this idle chatter with the gods. And you knew things he did not. Ah. For what does he listen to you, then? The gods I know are tight of lip and hard of hearing. I could not imagine the inner workings of a god. But then, I am not meant to. It is for mortals to flail in the darkness, I say, while gods point us toward light. To be worshipped, to have others interpret your design. It is not fair, I say. For what should a god worry about such cares, when theirs is the hand on the tiller? Kara, I did not wish to burden you. These days I am having to think harder than my pampered years. You will forgive the handsome fish if he is as curious as the green god. At least Aethys has you to keep him in check. What happens when we catch up to him is something for future Tekehu to worry about.
Scratch under the wet clay of any artist and you hatch a lifetime of fear and doubt. My boy doesn't fear the gods. He only fears what he'll compromise by living up to his potential. But isn't it easier to let sculptures represent you? Poor thing. Nothing he does could disappoint me. But that is a mother's prerogative.
I should come clean about something, Captain. Atsura didn't set me loose just so I could stay busy. Fact of the matter is, he gave me a job to do. I've got this stack of missives I need to deliver. Noble errand, right? The company has a lot of people working away from headquarters, and Atsura trusted me to get these in the right hands. I hope that isn't a problem. A bit of everything. Shipping manifests, requisitions for supplies, work orders. Mostly work orders. You wouldn't believe how much paperwork it takes to run a navy. Don't take it personally if I'm vague on some of the details. Atsura likes his discretion, even when it comes to boring bureaucratic stuff. The second that I need you to worry, you'll know. Count on it. Pew pew. This one's bound for Harama, an acquaintance. Good sailor. He's somewhere off in Tikawara. And these are for Tuaha, an old friend stationed in Port Maje. You meet some strange types in the Navy.
If you be having a tick, Cap, I'll be thinking that, if I be dragging you into these depths, you deserve the full sounding. When I were a wee swabby, fresh to the sea, it were Romaro that showed me the ropes and rigging. More than that, he, kept his weather eye open for me. The sea be a right poxy ore on occasion, and life aboard the Sorcerer, that and more. Malnash, our ship hunter, she were all, wet and bothered for doing me harm, and Romaro. He protected me. Mentored me too, learned me letters and navigation, handed down the Principe traditions. In time, we became close as kin or closer. And the Sorcerer, my family. Right, fantastic fucking question, Cap. Word out were mutiny. But I'll be putting about as much stock in that as a dockside doxy for manners. Well, no, I don't normally be singing no praises of veracity, Cap. But in the matter of Romaro, I'll be hunting the truth. Fair. He be of old Valian stock. A good man and righteous. Not honest, of course, but honourable. Were our shipboard sawbones, and more than half handy at it. More than one swabby be on the old salt of deferral from the wheel. Why, Cap? You be feeling a bit of the old envy? Nay, we never shared a bunk. Not that I'd have kicked him out of a hammock, but, like I said, we be family. He never took advantage. Well, only knows, Cap. She treated me like my mere presence gave offense. Thanks, Cap. I'll be holding you to it. Ahoy, Captain. What can I do you for? Ask away, Cap. Formerly the Principe San Petrena. The princes, without a home, They came from Grand Valia ages ago. Now they be the scourge of the Deadfire. More than that, ain't for the likes of me to say. Ask away, Cap. Raiding seafaring vessels mostly. Seasoned ships cargo. Ships themselves if they be worth anything. If there be passengers of high berth, we be taking them for ransom too. Ain't squeamish about slaying, but be avoiding it when we can. Get yourself known for killing folk. They get more likely to fight you when you come for the gold.
You only get known for killing folk if you're not so great at killing folk.
Shooting a man from the shadows be one thing. Sinking a god's damn carrack be another entire. Ask away, Cap. Aye, that I do, Cap. What not? Smell of the sea, creak of the rigging, blast of the cannons, rush aboard and a right piece of prey. A mug of spice rum in my hands and a bawdy song on my lips. A lad or lass in every port and another in my hammock. Be a pirate's life for me.
All the things you get out of being a hairy, smelly cutthroat, I get out of being a decorated officer. It'd be funny if it wasn't so sad.
No worries, lass. I'll be making a right honest pirate of you yet. She's a too. Ask away, Cap. In least, Cap. We ain't the flog-stroking Rowattai Navy. Twixt the seaworthy vessel and passable crew, you've managed yourself the hardest part already. Now you just need to be setting yourself to piracy, after you be talking it over with the Consuelo. No, we ain't exactly a bunch known for housing hard-ons for hard rules. Ask away, Cap. Aye, aye, Cap. I ain't no liar, Cap. Lies be for novices. But I be possessing a mastery of the verbal arts. My tongue be the most flexible weapon in my arsenal.
Great and terrible things are at work. And once again, you seem to be in the middle of it. The Rowataians we passed will doubtless spread word of what you've done in Hasongo. But others will want to know what you've seen. They'll look to you for answers. As am I. It reminds me of the question that drew me to the Deadfire. The one I've been avoiding. I promised to tell you what I was doing among the Animancers at Port Marge. As you may have guessed, I was observing them, gathering information on the various Animancy operations in the region. Yes, and how better to draw them out. Animancy is a subject of particular interest to the Leaden Key. Through it, I hope to pick up the trail. That's where it gets complicated. After that incident in Old Valia, I thought more about the Leaden Key and its particular composition. If you two are finished... It's existed for over 2,000 years. Say what you will about its motives and methods, but that's an impressive tenure. That's when I realized how short-sighted I'd been. To think I could undo the Leaden Key without understanding how it works. By studying its origins, of course. Fate didn't spur the lad. I found references to an ancient Leaden Key cabal in the Deadfire. Possibly one of the oldest, if accounts are credible. And they appear to have been working independently, without direct intervention from Theos, for almost 2 millennia. And how to destroy it, yes. Most sources refer to them as the Painted Masks. But I haven't met anyone here who knows that name. I don't know where in the Deadfire they are exactly, but I was hoping we could look for them together. I believe you. Anyway, it's late. I suppose that's enough from me.
Hey, look who it is. Wasn't what I expected, I know that much. I had this idea that maybe I'd get along with him. Either 'cause he was like his mom, or 'cause he was like, But it was like somebody talked him out of his personality. And when he looked at you, you got the feeling he was looking at someone a long ways behind you. It's not his fault. He's alone out here. And his mom was such a force. If she was so sure of herself, she'd have had that co-leader following her. Hard to replace something like that.
All this chasing after Aethys, it's brought back memories of the Saints' War. Just how scared everyone was, mostly. Everybody put on a brave face, made all these claims about what they'd do when they met a god in battle. There was no sadder sight than a group of us talking big, trying to outdo one another. Even the fella that led us, he used to say he knew all these different ways you could kill a god, if you were so inclined. Of course, at night he'd grind his teeth so hard it sounded like he was chewing rocks, in case you were curious if he really had it in him. I wouldn't have traded him. The ones that died, most of them died brave. The ones that lived, well, they earned it. Point being, the prospect of facing a god makes cowards of most all of us. And now, here I am again, on my way to meet Aethys. Some ways I feel the same,
edgy, sick in my gut. But it's different this time. Might be because of you. We haven't gone to pieces yet, for one thing. At least not on the outside. You could have let it all end back at Cadnua, or even Gilded Vale. But you're still going, even knowing where we're headed. Haven't forgot who you are. There's part of me thinks we aren't gonna make it out of this. When I get to thinking like that, it helps to remember how you've held together. What do you think? We gonna survive all this? Hey, if you died once, how bad could it be to do it again? I go back and forth myself. Every time we see one of those big footprints, it reminds me not to get too excited. There's a good chance we die out here, halfway across the world from anywhere I ever called home. But if I can face it like you, maybe it doesn't matter. I mean it. Don't know where I'd be right now if you hadn't come through Gilded Vale that day. I'll tell you what, though. I'm not one for big promises. But I'm gonna beat up as many people and monsters as it takes to get you your life back. You got my word on that.